watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
Alrighty, good evening. How the devil are you all? Welcome along. We're back on the main channel. Many thanks to Brad and LTID TV2, the quiz channel, for hosting us last week while I was getting my bottom slapped by YouTube for being naughty again. Look, I was off the naughty step for 24 hours. For me, that's doing well. Quick question before we start. Has anybody else noticed that Leicester City are a bit desperate to be selling things? I am getting an email every 2 days saying, "You looked at this? Do you?" Because I just bought obviously the second the waste strip, and they are sending me emails every 1 or 2 days saying, "Do I want to buy this? Do I want to buy that?" I don't know if they've got a new boss in that department, but bloody hell, back off, guys, back off. But welcome along. This is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us, whether you be watching on YouTube or listening on your favourite podcast platform. Thank you for lending me your eyes or your ears, whichever way. If you are watching, please do join in with the chat. Keep it respectful. It is the debate show, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through set topics. So any questions that you ask during those topics, if they're not on that particular topic, we'll get annoyed. We may then come to your question on another topic later. If we do, then repost it or save it right until the end, because Kate will have gone by then. But no, save it till the end, and we're going to have sort of a Q&A session for the panel, so any general questions on that. But look, we are all over social media, which is there going along the bottom. So if you have a look at my bottom, it might crack you up. Boom, boom. Oh, look at that, 2 jokes for 1 there. What can I say? Welcome along. Thank you for joining us. We've got a lot to get through today, so let's get started. And let me bring my guests in. I think Brad is just about in position. He was on his side a minute ago. Don't ask what he's doing. Brad, good evening, sir. How are you? Are you muted?
My fat thumb wanted to press a button. I thought I'd keep you all in suspense. Yeah, I'm well, mate. I'm very happy.
It's not live. They won't know. Let's start here. Good
That's
evening,
right.
Brad. How are you?
I'm good evening, Chris. Take 2, as we'd say. Yeah, I'm very good. It's a bit weird. A weekend's gone by. Leicester played a game, and I'm not depressed. So it makes for a nice change this weekend.
It does. Well, you know, somebody who's not depressed, because I mean she's denying it, but she's here, but she's got to leave early because she's on a promise. I don't know what that is a promise of, and I'm too much of a gentleman to ask a lady. But hello, good evening, Kate. Welcome.
Good evening. You're not too much of a gentleman to imply, though, are you?
Hey, well, what can I say? Implying and what do you mean are 2 different things.
Absolutely.
You could be on a promise to take the dog for a walk. You could be on a promise to clean your freezer. I don't know. No, you've got work to do, haven't you? So
I have indeed.
Unfortunately, yeah. So we'll quickly say a few hellos just to get going. Highfields is in. Good evening, Highfield. And John is in as well. 2 members. Welcome along. Thank you very much. If you want to join them and become members, it's $1.99 a month. You do get a chance to come on the show, take part in quizzes, and we will be having a show very, very well towards the end of the month. The first show just where only members can actually join in the conversation. Luke is in. Good evening, Luke. I'm well. Are you? Facebook user, you need to stick your name at the end. If you're not going to sign in, which is all you're going to do is click, it's free. You don't have to download anything. If you can't be bothered to do that and you don't stick your name at the end, I can't be bothered to read you out. Richard's in. Big Cox, good evening. How are you, sir? Hope you are well. Yeah, your little baby's 16 now. And how's Jake? Is he well as well? John says, oh no, dad jokes. Hey, look. You know me. If there's a dad joke to be had, I will say it. And Spencer, another member, is in. Good evening, Spencer. How are you? Right. And John just wants to say hi, Brad and Kate as well.
Hi, John.
Yeah, it makes them feel welcome. If people can say hello to them, it's like, we don't have this like do not feed the animals or anything like that. You can say hello to them. They don't bite. Well, I don't know about Brad. I know Kate does, but I'm not sure about Brad. But let's get on. Look, have you been watching the football, the World Cup at all, Brad and Kate?
Yeah, a little bit.
I've caught it as and when I can. I did plan to watch more of it, but there's a problem, and that problem is my sleep pattern. I am asleep when some of the games go on at 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm forever checking the BBC to catch up with it, I'll be honest with you. I know England had a very feisty game today, but it's been a bit of a struggle for me with my sleeping arrangement at the moment.
In other words, folk, I'll put that into English for you. He's a lazy bastard and he doesn't get up till the afternoon.
No, that's not true. I just don't go to bed till 6 o'clock in the morning.
No, we've had many a 2 a.m. conversation. Don't ask, Kate.
Yes, you don't ask. You don't want to know.
Did you see the game today, Kate?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. Yeah, I saw the penalties as well.
Yeah, I caught the end of the second half and the sending off because I was doing the day job this morning, so it does clash unfortunately for me a little bit as well. I then went out to get a haircut because my son's getting married, so I thought, well, I better look reasonably smart for that at the weekend. And I sat there, they'd got it on the telly, and I was watching that the end and the extra time. And then by the time they'd finished that and I'd gone out and I was walking out, I could actually watch the end of the penalties on my phone. So I caught bits of it. A bit of a Beckham-like moment from James.
Yeah,
Kate, sorry.
Just a bit of a reckless moment, wasn't it? Really, there was quite a lot of feistiness all game, I think, and it's just one of them. She's human, isn't she? She makes that kind of error, and she'll be absolutely gutted, I'm sure. Is it the rest of the tournament that she misses now, I presume?
Well, she misses one game unless FIFA decide that it was bad enough to miss more. So FIFA can extend it. Now we know how much FIFA love England, so they won't do that. But not.
Moment of madness, just one of them. It's just a pity it's our best player.
It is. And I mean, she had only just come back, hadn't she, as well? It wasn't our best game, was it? We didn't look good at all.
No, but -1 group stage game, was it 7-1 we beat China? We've not really looked great, but the thing is, the one thing you can always say about international football, no matter its level, is England are play like a team that just seem to do whatever's necessary by hook or by crook to win it. And they always say about the best teams or the consistent teams that win these tournaments is they're slow to start. They might look brilliant, but they'll always find a way to win. And you can put it down and call it sluggish if you like, who went through to the next round. I'm telling you, England fans will be a lot happier than Nigerian fans at the end result. And that's what we've become accustomed to with England, isn't it? They had that amazing, 50-something game unbeaten run before they lost a pointless friendly. They obviously won the last major tournament as well. So It might not be pretty, but it's pretty good when they get through and not go out.
You need that. You need that bit of luck. We know that. That is tournament football for you. I don't think. I mean, I couldn't have it on because obviously I was doing the radio show, so I couldn't pick up the sound. But I was looking at the stats, and they had like 11 shots before we had a shot on target. And of course, they had. Now I thought it was actually Plumtree here that used to play for Leicester, but apparently that's not her name, is it not?
It's Plumpter.
Plumptre.
I thought the same as me, but it's pronounced really weird.
Because on Google it's spelt Plumtree, but so I was thinking that I wouldn't mind if she scored as long as we score too.
Well, she's left Leicester now.
Yeah, I know, but she's still.
Yeah.
Look, you can take the girl out of Leicester, but you can't take Leicester out of the girl, can you, Kate?
Not at all. Not at all.
But I mean, let's have a look. I mean, it's falling in place for us, isn't it? I mean, yes, we put 6 past China. But let's have a look. I mean, Italy are out. All right, Sweden are through. Oh, no, they're not. I think Sweden are out now, aren't they? But let's have a look. I mean, out of the groups went New Zealand and Philippines, Canada, Ireland, nobody yet, Zambia, Costa Rica, China, Haiti, Portugal, Vietnam. Now, Brazil went out, which was a huge surprise, with France and Jamaica going through. So that was the big surprise of the group stage. Italy went out, and Germany went out at the group stage as well to Morocco. I thought I was watching the World Cup then, not the men's World Cup, not the women's. So the big names are falling, Kate, and then the USA are out.
Yeah.
They went out on penalties. Let's have a look. I mean, Denmark are out, with Australia beating them today. I mean, on our side of the group, there's no reason. We should be able to win this now, shouldn't we?
Yes, but we all know that what happens on paper doesn't happen on the pitch, does it? I mean, the penalties today, we got out of jail with that today. I don't know, it's just inherent English mentality. But yeah, on paper, you'd like to think we'd do well. We've actually got experience of winning a major tournament, haven't we now? The girls have. So just looking at the fixtures here. So Colombia or Jamaica is who we're facing.
Yes. I don't know. Are either of them particularly big in women's football?
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
No, it's a little bit different than it is to the men's because you've got the USA are one of the top sides. Canada traditionally are actually quite a formidable team in there. Germany are up there, but Italy aren't. They weren't in the top 10 as of recent. So there's still a mix of good teams, but Jamaica, I think they only just qualified for this one. It's like their first time they made it, so I don't think they've had a mark to make. So you'd imagine, even though they kind of lacklustered the way to a 1-0 win over Haiti, that England would be very happy with the outcome of
on our side of the group. Apparently, there's no reason why they were saying earlier we shouldn't make it.
Well, how easy do England always get it? It seems at least that's equal throughout.
I mean, it would be interesting, and Kate, in this world of everything's got to be equal and what have you, that if the women's football, not only if they won the Euros before the men's, but if they won another World Cup before the men's, it would be just showing it to the men, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, showing them how it's done.
I mean,
maybe it's actually to do with the female coaching rather than female players so much, which is quite an interesting point.
Yeah, I mean, she is a great coach. We know she's done it with Netherlands, and she didn't panic, did she? When James got sent off, I think she knew it was going to happen. When the referee goes over to the monitor, you know that the chances are you're off.
Yeah, it's a pointless pantomime, isn't it? Really, when they go to the camera.
But she'd got 2 substitutions lined up. She made one sit down. And I mean, Chloe Kelly, what would we do without her?
Yeah, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Always pulls it out.
Yeah, pulled it indeed. Right, well, look, that's England. I'm getting reasonably excited now. Once we get to this stage, quarterfinals, then we're going to win it, aren't we? We're going to be singing "It's Coming Home" anytime. John, just read the banner going across the bottom, if you would. And because we'll come back to it later if you want to ask it when we get to the Q&A session. Otherwise, we'll get it will get forgotten. Okay, Foxes apparently, Brad, I don't know whether you saw this in the morning's paper or it would change news by the time you woke up. Foxes made a £5 million bid for Galatasaray winger, oh, here we go, Yunus Akgun.
Yeah, I did see it. It's a weird one, but it's I don't know the wording they've used with it. You'll have to clarify for me whether it means we have to or we don't, because it's some weird deal that we'll see him initially come on loan with us obligated to pay the €6 million, which is 5 million. So that reminds me of a certain 2 or 3 players we've had through the door where it's a loan with an option. I think obligated means we have to pay at the end, which then kind of makes us think, well, why is he on loan if we're going to have to pay it anyway? I don't understand that. I don't know. Maybe it's in case. Maybe it's just to help the wage structure or something, and we can't afford it at the moment. But I wouldn't understand why we couldn't. Why are we loaning him if we and then say we're going to buy him?
Exactly. I mean, oh God, get my teeth in. Malvididi, we just went out and bought him. We know what happens with loans. You know, they come in, and let's be honest, if you've come in on loan, to my mind, if I was a loan player and suddenly I'm not getting picked, I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing here? And because I know at the end of the loan, I'll be going back. I've still got a job back at my parent club.
Yeah. I was just thinking the same thing. I wonder how, when it says obligation to buy, is that just one way, or does it work both ways? Like if the player doesn't want it, or if they get injured, I don't really understand like who's responsible for the player in the end.
Because I'm understanding the word obligated means you're obliged to pay that fee if you want him, sort of fee. So maybe it's something that's agreed between the clubs that Leicester have maybe said, look, we haven't shifted as much as our wage bill as was hoping. We can pay 60, 70 or whatever % this season, but next season, all things going well, we'll get parachute payments or whatever. We can get our wage structure and we'll just take him for the 6 million. And they've gone, okay, then if that's the way we have to get around it, that's the way we'll do it.
Payments we get next year will
as the
110 million we got for finishing 18th this year.
True. Well, maybe there'll be a few players that they're waiting for their end of contract to leave that won't sign a new deal, sort of thing, if we can't get rid of them. Or maybe it's just maybe Leicester just playing it safe. Because I saw that from Spencer.
We're talking FFP reasons here, Spencer, and I'm interested to see what you think, Kate. Surely we haven't got a problem with FFP, because that was the problem last season, that we were trying to stick to FFP and we didn't bring anybody in because of that. All right, it backfired because it wouldn't have mattered anyway because we went down. But we have got rid of, was it 10 odd players? Now, those that were on, that like the Amartys, the Mendes, they were going to be on, I would say, probably 60 plus grand a week. Now, these players we're bringing in probably aren't going to be on that at this point. So, and we certainly haven't taken in as many as we've let go. We're in a minus position on that. So surely, wage bill and FFP, it shouldn't be a problem.
No, but with the relegation, I presume, because it's based on turnover, the turnover of the club's going to plummet quite a lot because the TV revenue will be less. We've got the parachute payments, just everything that's attached to the Premier League in terms of rights and just general commercial side of things is going to have dropped down to the next level. So there may be a proportionate reduction, which means you can be similarly in an FFP situation. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and we've still got quite a high wage bill, with the likes of Castagna, if he's not going to feature, and players like that. So it'll be interesting. I don't know how the rules are affected in the Championship, whether it's the same rules you have to stick to. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure how it works.
I mean, you've got to balance the books, but obviously we have got that huge amount coming in, Brad, from, like I say, 110 million from finishing 18th, even though we went down. But I'm just reading out what it says here. Now, this is actually on. It's not on the Mercury. It's on TurkishFootball.com. A guy that's written it, journalist Nevzat Dinar. Well done, Chris. who writes for Milliet and is known for his close ties to Galatasaray. It says Nantes and Bordeaux have both offered a 1 million loan deal with an option to buy for the second year, with 5 million and 4.5 million respectively. It doesn't say whether that's Leicester as well. He's just saying there Leicester have made an offer. But I'm looking at it, and I say last season for Galatasaray, he scored 1 goal and made 4 assists in 25 league appearances. He's not exactly setting the world alight, is he?
No, it doesn't seem that. That's what I mean. I thought, oh wow, I'm not going to curse Leicester for signing someone I don't know. Not just because I don't really follow the leagues that outside of England, but you never know. We've signed some world class players. I mean, but you look at that record and you think, can I have Cengiz Under back? Because at least he got more than at Leicester than that bloke. So I don't understand it, but we don't know. I mean, I would say we do need to strengthen the depth in that area, but 1 goal and 4 assists in 25, with the greatest of respect in the Turkish league.
Yeah,
I think us three could go out there and get that in 1 game at some point with some of the teams out there.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you've not seen me in
I mean, I'd at least demolish the Turkish kebab. That's about as good as I'd probably get, but still.
I make Gareth Taylor-Fetcher look like Jamie Vardy. I'm trying to think was it? It wasn't Baybrook, was it? Who played on the wing against Coventry? McAteer. You were there. We will come on to the game in more detail in a second, but just quickly on that point, Kate, you were there. I mean, yes, I suppose we need cover, but I would have thought, looking at him and the sort of game he had, I thought he had quite a good game.
Yeah, he had a really good game. Yeah, for his debut, it must have been pretty nerve-wracking for him. Home debut, big derby, big first game. I thought he held his own really well. I thought he could have done more. I thought there was parts of the game where he went out of the action a bit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, I mean, he fitted in comfortably, didn't he? He didn't look like a newbie or a youngster. He definitely held his own. And hopefully we'll see him grow a bit more as the games go on, really.
Yeah.
We've got Albrighton, I suppose, haven't we, for cover?
Yes, well, exactly, yeah. So, I'd say we got goal straw. I don't know. I mean, Kieran Dewsbury, Brad linked to Liverpool.
Oh, I like Lincoln sod off, can't it? Yeah, that ain't happening. That ain't happening.
We've got to keep hold of some of our half decent players. We can't start literally from a whole brand new 11, can we? Unless you called Nottingham Forest.
No, well, I mean, let's look at the facts, right? If I have a one-to-away player, they're usually not making a team sheet entirely, or they're making the bench just to fill the numbers. And the only player, technically there's been 2, but the only player that's very predominant in the sounds that he also wants away, as well as clubs want him, is Castagne. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall has done at least 5, if not 5 or more press conferences since the start of the season. He's clearly the new Maddison of the group. He's the one that's going to get the media light. And are you telling me the way he celebrated his goals, he's thinking, oh, I hope Liverpool come in bid for me, or I hope Manchester United get me team back up with Slabhead? No, he's not going anywhere. Liverpool could shove off. I can take a long walk off a short pier, as I say, in terms of Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, because he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Kate, I'll come to you first with this one. I do want to get Brad's thoughts from after what he said at before we came live. But the other news is, and I guess this has got a bit of legs because it hasn't been starting since Enzo's come in. Soutars could be off to rejoin Bellend at Celtic. I mean, apparently they are struggling and they are looking for a centre-back.
So are we. That's not a headline I want to be reading, really, especially when we had Vestergaard in yesterday. That was really disappointing, and he nearly cost us a couple of times. I'm gutted that for Souttar that Enzo doesn't favour him over Vestergaard. I think 99% of people would favour Souttar, but if I was him and that's going to be the future, Enzo's not going to be going anywhere for at least a couple of seasons. Then you've got to think selfishly, haven't you? It would be pointless signing for us. I don't know how much he's on a week, but I would not challenge him at all. You got to go and play football while your career is as short as it is. But it'd be really disappointing because I cannot bear to watch Yannick. It's painful and scary.
Well, it's Carl Starfelt at Celtic who is on a move to Celta Vigo. That looks set to go through, so that will leave Rodgers short at the back. Obviously, something that Vestergaard isn't.
Marty, let him pick him up.
Brad, I mean, look, I've got to take. I mean, Kate was there. We weren't. I was only watching it on telly. He does seem to like what Vestergaard offers. But Sutar, I mean, he's gone from Stoke to a Premier League club. That Premier League club thing got relegated. And he's now in a worse position in the same league that he was in with his new club because he was being picked before at Stoke. You can't... Yeah,
I mean, me and Kate are in the same fan club when it comes to Vestergaard, so I understand Kate's pain talking about him. But I think we all know deep down if Conor Cody didn't get injured, that's his role. That's what he'll do for us in the team when he gets in. But in terms of Sutar, may I just remind people, this guy was suddenly too tired to play more than a game a week when he's been playing 3 games a week in the Championship. I think the second he probably grumbled at Leicester and probably knew that Brandon was out the door, he couldn't be bothered. I think he was what you literally, and I'll bring this player up before you get the chance to mention it. A certain Junior Lewis followed Peter Taylor wherever he went, like Mary and a little lamb. Well, it feels like Sutar was purely joined Leicester to play under Brendan. And the second that went, he never made the team, except for once. And then, embarrassingly, Dean Smith had to come out and say, he's too tired to play. That to me, just stinks. And do you know what? Get him gone. I don't want him. Not interested. If that's his attitude, if that's the reason you signed purely on one manager, I don't have any sympathy for him. I really don't. Brendan, come and get him. Come and pay us 17 million for him.
What you're saying there, Brad. But Kate, is the manager not a big influence on why you go to clubs?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also a massive reason why you leave clubs, isn't it? So, yeah, I mean, Brendan brought Sutar, Scottish football, going home. I could see it happening, definitely, if they give us the right money. But it's whether they'll give us the right money because we don't budge on things like that. Got a long time left on his contract, hasn't he?
Yeah, but to me, I don't think it wasn't a Brendan signing in the same way that Perez or Vestergaard was. I mean, it did come through Martin Glover and the recruitment team, but when you got, as Brad, as you said, Dean Smith looking at him going, something not quite right there, and Enzo's looking at him going like, there's something not quite right there. As much as us crowd, much as us fans, prefer to have him there rather than Vestergaard, it's the managers that are dealing with him day in, day out.
Yeah, exactly. And look, whether me and Kate, and we don't, but whether we like it or not, Vestergaard's clearly listened to the manager, whether he said in so many words, basically, new manager, new start for everybody. I don't care how you were under the old regime. You're my players now. I'm going to look at you with fresh eyes. Why hasn't he stepped up a gear? Why hasn't he seen that as a chance to go, okay, I'm gutted that the guy who brought me here didn't go? Because let's face it, it ain't like it was Martin O'Neill days. I understood when the likes of Lennon and Guppy and all that left when O'Neill went Celtic. Totally can understand that sort of thing. The guy was barely here 5 minutes as a player. So it ain't like he was with Brendan for 4 years. So I don't understand why. That tells you a lot about the player's attitude and ego when he's clearly down tools, Chris. Like you said, he didn't bother with Brendan 2.0, a.k.a. Adam Sadler. He didn't bother to show any interest to David Smith, to the point that John Terry went, why the hell is Soyuncu training with the under-23s? When clearly, obviously saying this dipshit can't play football or whatever, or showing nothing, And now Enzo, who gives him a clean slate, is getting picked over Vestergaard because Vestergaard's clearly showing more about him. I mean, to me, if that's what I'm seeing from a fan's perspective, looking at it from the outside in, see you later, suitor. I don't care if you're Celtic, Southampton, or Queen of the South. If that's his attitude, that to the point that Vestergaard's looking like a more viable option, see, it's like getting. It was like someone getting dropped for Perez, when you're clearly not good enough, in my opinion, to play for us, or you're not showing the right attitude. So.
Kate,
That's where I stand.
Are us fans too easily swayed? I mean, are we looking at Sutar and going, "This is Maguire number 2"?
And in a good or a bad way?
Well, I mean, look at he's sort of.
I don't think Manly will pay 80 million for him.
Plays in a similar way, and I'm taking against. I mean. Danilo says here, if Enzo sees something in Vestergaard, I will trust Vestergaard, even though Vestergaard is not the way forward. I trust Enzo. I mean, surely, he sees something in Vestergaard that we don't see. And as much as Brendan had every right, and if it's Brendan said to Kagler, look, you shouldn't have done that interview, I'm sorry, go off and train, because it could have been disruptive to the camp, then it can just be the same as saying Vestergaard put in the effort in.
Yeah, I think we had this case with Amati as well, didn't we? I think Brendan said that Amati was turning up for training every day and being really nice to everybody, and he was a pleasure to work with. But it's not what wins football matches. I really struggle with that concept. I'm absolutely trusting Enzo. I'm not slagging him off for picking Vestergaard. I'm just a bit bewildered as to why he has picked him, because Suter hasn't really done a lot wrong. He's not absolutely brilliant, don't get me wrong. I think he's still very much in the brackets of a panic buy for us, because we were desperate for something and somebody who was cheap enough. And we had to go and rummage around Stoke to find that player. But yeah, I think fans are quite easily swayed by what they see, what they read. I think I said in the last programme actually before that he was recovering from an ACL when we bought him. So whether that's completely hampered and not been dealt with properly by Stoke, that could have, we've probably bought a 90% fit player and maybe he'll never be 100% fit. I don't know. Maybe he can't play games in and out. We just don't know a lot. But he does seem to be able to jet off around the world to play for Australia every couple of months. So it's frustrating.
But then so does Johnny Evans, used to go and play for,
absolutely.
Ireland. I mean,
it's hard. I don't get the Vestergaard thing. I think he's behaved quite badly as well. He had an offer on the table and just point blank refused it.
But can you blame him for refusing it? Because he wasn't being picked, and that's what I'm getting at with Vestergaard. And I'm not saying that he's the new John Terry or whatever, but he's hardly played a game for us to really form an opinion on. We were saying that Iheanacho was absolutely rubbish because he was coming on and people were slating Iheanacho. Oh, he's rubbish. He couldn't score hit a barn door from 2 foot. And he was getting 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there. Probably he probably got more time than Vestergaard has. So what are we, we have formed, I believe, this opinion on the fact that in one game against us, he let 9 goals in. He didn't let 9 goals in. There was 10 other players on the pitch. But
I haven't formed that opinion on that, actually. In fact, one of my close colleagues is a Southampton fan, and he was really sorry to see Vestergaard go, genuinely sorry to see him go. But I think yesterday summed him up perfectly. Positioning and pace are not what he's good at. And Huth was a bit similar in the sense that he had no pace, but he knew his restrictions and just catered accordingly and knew his boundaries. I think we spoke about this yesterday. So I don't see Vestergaard doing that. I'd rather him play him as a bit of a sweeper, which I think he'd be more effective as, because pace and positioning, we nearly got done twice in about 5 minutes yesterday, and that was solely on him. And I think he also makes Fast really nervous. That's just my interpretation of what I see. And I get he might train well and he might be a nice bloke and he might try hard and he might be better than Suter in the long term, but he can't be our long-term main solution if because apparently Cody's in a boot. So Cody won't be back for weeks. It worries me his Cov could finish yesterday. There'd have been 3-0 up before 60 minutes and we can't have that.
No, but are we saying it literally is all down to Vestergaard, or there are other defenders on the pitch. There's a goalkeeper on the pitch. Had we been 3 down, and yes, for those 15 minutes, we were absolutely under the cosh, and there were some other moments as well. I mean, Brad, I mean, don't laugh. I mean, I've been watching Ted Lasso. I'm on the 3rd season now. I'd watched the first 2 a while ago. Absolutely love it. In a way, I actually sit there thinking, it makes a bit of sense, that does. But it isn't down to one player, is it? I mean, they're in the 3rd series, they've got the fact that these star players came in, and it's obviously so based on Ibrahimovic. It is, it's a joke. I don't know if you've seen it, Kate. You're nodding away.
Yeah, I have seen it. Yeah, it's brilliant.
That is Ibrahimovic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, but as soon as he goes, the team absolutely falls apart, and we know that is not the case. Before we move on, yes, I don't think he's the long term. He's got a year left anyway. He's not signed a new contract. I'm sure he does want away because of the way he's been treated. Because he was pursued by a manager, rightly or wrongly, whatever we think about it. Brendan pursued him for a few years. Some Southampton fans couldn't wait to see the back of him, called him, a sick note. Others, like you said, Kate, thought he was a decent player. He was a Premier League defender for quite a few years. Has he been given the rub of the green, Brad?
No, I don't think he has. I don't think he's. You could argue, to use a court case thing, he wasn't given a fair trial. I think the biggest problem is we already knew his restrictions before he kicked the ball for us, and we didn't see anything to do that. And I can't believe I'm saying this, Chris. I can't believe to say to this, but to come to Vestergaard's defence here.
Making a note of the time here, Brad. Be careful.
I know. I'm gonna make sure he gets his pen and paper ready to note this down, Kate, because I can't believe I'm saying this. But in Vestergaard's defence, he was the anchor role yesterday. He was the guy who, if in doubt, give it Vestergaard, because if in doubt, Hermeson's behind him, he'll boot it, and if not, Vestergaard can spread a pass out. Okay? Sometimes, especially when Coventry played a through ball, Doyle or Faze were nowhere near Vestergaard. Now, you talk about Robert Huth, Kate, and Johnny Evans and Wes Morgan, all them 3 fit into the same category for the same obvious reasons. They lack pace, but they knew how to compensate for it. Now, I agree, Vestergaard doesn't quite know how to compensate it, but he's also probably still playing a role that he's been asked to play a role for the next 4 or 5 weeks, which is going to get filled eventually by Cody once he's out of his boot and fit again. So he's probably not allowed to play away to compensate that, because he's having to try and adapt to a slightly more pace. So what do you need from your other 2 centre-back pairings? Well, apparently you need one playing like he's a striker version of Matt Elliott in Wild Phase, and you need the other one close to him. Because I know he got a slight touch on that shot, which Hermeson tipped onto the bar. But if he was closer to Vestergaard, then that chance wouldn't have happened. And Doyle would have realised Vestergaard's going to get beaten for pace, because, funny enough, I played against this guy, so I know I played for this guy, so I know what he's capable of. I've got to anticipate it and get ahead of the game. If he's a better centre back, which I know he's young, so bite your tongue with him, take it with a pinch of salt, but they can learn to handle it. You work as a team. There is no I in defence. You defend as a unit. See how I made sure I checked the spelling before I said that as well.
Yeah, I was doing that there as well.
Yeah, there's no I in because I nearly said defensive, but that would have been wrong. There's no I in defence, so you have to work as a team. So as much as we could moan that Vestergaard is slow and he got beat to the ball, Doyle was about 3 yards off the pace. Thankfully, he's able to make it up because he's still young and a spring chicken. But he shouldn't have had that. He shouldn't have got that shot away, because one of them 2 should be mopping up Vestergaard's mistake in that situation.
I've just got to interrupt because we have got a bit of this. And this is serious breaking news. In Glasgow, major response and streets have been evacuated after hazardous material found. But apparently they saw it was Brendan Rodgers and sent him back to Celtic Park, so it was all right in the end. but that is actually, there is a problem in Glasgow. Look, you know what I say about Scottish football? I'm not impressed with Scottish football, and I'm not impressed with Scottish football writers. I'm going to read this bit from the Daily Record, which was carrying the Souttar story. The Parkhead boss admitted, that's obviously Bellend, they will have to bring in a replacement group for Carl Sarstedt when the Swede set for a move to Celtic Vido. And it comes at a time when Souttar faces an uncertain Fox's future, with new King Power Stadium gaffer Enzo Marquesco admitting the 20-year-old brother. Oh, that's the wrong bit. What was I going to read you?
He's ever the professional.
Souttar was an unused substitute in their opening day English Championship win against second-tier New Boys Coventry City. Now, I'm sorry, Daily Record, if you are that unknowledgeable about a division that is 10 times, our second division, which is 10 times better than your top division, you don't even know who's new and who's not new, then give it up. Give it up. But sorry, that's just my rant on.
Yeah, it's not exactly like Coventry went under the radar last season. They were in a certain playoff final, so it's not like they could have avoided the fact that Coventry weren't new boys to the division.
They miss those sort of things in Scotland, you know. Kate, Enzo is saying be patient. Now I'm guessing before Leicester City's late double to beat Coventry City, there were groans of frustration from the stands at the King Power Stadium at the speed the ball was being moved. Did you hear groans?
No, I don't think I did. And I didn't feel like that myself either. I just really didn't want us to lose.
Yes.
Because just purely from a momentum and a confidence perspective, I think Coventry more than did enough to win the game. And I think maybe a draw in the end might have been a fair result because we played so well in the first half hour. But I didn't really hear any groans or people getting frustrated.
There was a time when I noticed your favourite player, Mr. Vestergaard, and I'm guessing, I think it was Harry Winks, were literally playing pass.
They were. Yeah, I did. Yeah, and
I don't know whether that's when they were groaning, but it was. And I was doing Vestergaard to Winks, back to Vestergaard to Winks, back to Vestergaard.
I remember
it was almost like they were waiting, obviously, for somebody to become available. But
yeah, I think we're going to see for a little while the remnants of Brendan. Not that Harry was around when Brendan was here, but a lot of the team were and have that ethos. And I think that's probably what Enzo means. Like, we're not the finished article by any means. And hopefully when the squad's not the finished article yet either for this transfer window. So we have just got to be patient. I think everybody was aware of that yesterday. I think the only groans and comments that I was hearing was flipping set pieces. I don't know if Enzo's brought a great guy with him that can help us with this, but flipping heck, it was painful to watch. I mean, Coventry fizzed some in. There were some of the best corners I've seen for a while come in. But that was really frustrating when we've got Doyle and Vestergaard are pretty big units.
Apparently, Brad, Leicester City supporters must understand, says Enzo, that quicker attacks are not always better attacks. New manager Enzo has said after groans of frustration arose in this first game.
Yeah, I didn't hear too many murmurs. It went a bit quiet a little bit, and I think you could sense some nervousness. But like Kate said, the whole of Leicester, not just the players, but the fans probably got to that point. When it got to about 70-odd minutes, that's probably when people started getting a bit fidgety and a bit like, oh, come on, we need a goal, because if we lose, how is it going to, just that. And in that moment, you're probably thinking, oh, God, if we do lose this game, will it really affect them? Is this, because we're all expecting Leicester to bounce back in one way or another, either be it the playoffs or automatic. Whether we're trying to stay grounded or not, the most blue tinted view on it is we want to get back to the Premier League at the first attempt. And I think maybe that, like you said, that stink of Brendan washed over us a little bit. We thought, oh God, but if we do lose this, what if Coventry score again? Are we going to see what we saw before the floodgates open and Leicester lose 2 or 3-0? But that wasn't the case. And it was almost like I said to my friend who she was messaging me between the game, and I said, we just need that goal. We just need our first goal. And then the fans can relax, the first occasions happen, and then we'll see what happens. And thankfully, Dewsbury Hall found another way to score, and we won the game. And I think that helped a little bit because the what's the word I'm looking for? The potential loom over when will Enzo get his first win is already done with. That's ticked off. You know, he's got that going. And it kind of already improves the atmosphere. I think it was just nerves. I think that's what it was. When it was 1-0 for so long, that nerves of last season just flashed back. And I think Huddersfield away, there won't be that nerves. There won't be that impatience for Leicester to get back in the game. I won't give anything away because I've written my prediction down for it. Not that it's going to do me any favours, so don't copy my own work. That's all I'm saying. But I think we needed to get through this game. I think this was a big occasion for everybody involved, given what happened last season. And now we're at the other side, we can maybe relax a little bit as fans and really trust the process because we've seen.
Oops. He's gone. Oh, he's back. Is he?
My internet froze there. I don't know what happened.
No, you're back.
Yeah, we're back. I don't know what happened.
Kate, do we want the clappers back?
I don't use mine. I never use mine.
Or are they back?
They were back. Actually, they were being handed out as you went through the turnstiles if you wanted one.
That makes sense, yes.
Which I think it was
They
nice
did that a few times back in the...
They're a little bit of a collector's item, I think, for some people as well. And then we've got those honesty flags in the seats now where there's flags every 5 or 10 seats or whatever to wave at the beginning or if we score and stuff. So you're not allowed to take those with you.
I mean, I love the clappers when I was there for the stadium. It does create an atmosphere. I mean, everybody's saying, "Oh, it was like the noise that used to be at Filbert Street." But I mean, it's full of shit. We were at a different stadium. Why didn't everybody that was just in the singing section at Filbert Street sit together in the singing section at the King Power? They chose where they wanted to sit. I've got to be honest with you, it's a darn sight easier to clap with the clappers. Hang on, don't. No,
this one you prepared earlier.
It's just disappeared.
I was starting to note the time, Kate, just so we could see that moment where Chris kind of just went like that and fell off the
But I mean, I love the clappers. I think they do help, and but I do think it's better that you are offered them. So then it's you. I have no particular joy in sat there clapping my hands together for 50 odd minutes, whatever you're doing during the game. But look at the game itself. Was the result more important than the performance?
Always is, isn't it?
I don't know. Sometimes last season we were saying we just want a performance.
I think the result was the most important thing yesterday, just because we saw how it went last year when we lost 2-0, a 2-0 lead to Brentford. That set the tone. It really set the tone. You felt it, and I just think especially because Coventry would have been upbeat, they'd have been well up for it. Playoff finalists last year. It was just really important, and then I think we did play well for big parts of the game. We played well, and then I'm glad we had the chance to regroup in the second half because that was a show of character. Here he is.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. That's why I went off camera.
Regroup, really.
So yeah, I think they're brilliant. We did play well, and that first half I thought we were the better team overall, and then of course we went 1-0 down from a corner. Typical, and it was like, we're back to where we were. All the best play, chances, not taking them, and we go and lose. And I said to you, didn't I, Brad, at half time? Did Enzo open the drawer in the manager's office and find a book called Brendan Rodgers' Football Tactics and think, these look good, I'm going to do that? because that's what it was. It was like watching Brendan Rodgers' team for that first 50 minutes.
Not so much the first half. I think we were very creative in the space.
We played well under Brendan Rodgers very often for the first.
Well, yeah,
didn't score and then went and conceded.
Yeah, I suppose in that manner, yeah, you are right. I thought you just meant the whole depression saga when we were like playing Newcastle at home and going 3-0 down in like 4 minutes.
No.
I was thinking more of that home performance, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it did have that vibe to it. And the thing is, though, you have to understand that what were Coventry supposed to do? Were they supposed to go, oh, sorry, we've taken a lead. This is a new Leicester. We're supposed to let you keep going at us and getting in behind and attacking us and let you win this game. And no, they kind of got this thing called confidence. So credit to Coventry. They got themselves in front, and Mark Robbins then got to his player and went, right, we're in front. Now we're going to do this. We're going to make it frustrating. We're going to take the pace out of the game. We're going to flood the midfield. I want you to stop them passing around you and getting in behind. So you've got to give a lot of credit to Mark Robbins and his team yesterday, because they stopped Leicester for about 10-15 minutes getting back into the game. But unlike a certain clap and seal, Enzo actually had this mythical creature called a plan B, and when he made his substitutions, most notably for obvious reasons Dennis Pratt, but also Kelechi Iheanacho, despite people being frustrated that he's not a Jamie Vardy-esque striker, I think he played a vital part in the change in tempo. You know, he moved Dewsbury Hall into that attacking format, and that's what I liked. The fact that, you know, under Brendan, it would have been a case of, you know, oh, we're running at a brick wall. What do we do now? Run faster at the brick wall and hope it cracks, and it never worked. Whereas Enzo went, okay, Coventry are stopping us here. Okay, you and you, get on. You go here. That's what we're going to do. And the lads knew it. It didn't take 20 minutes to get going. You know, they were instant at the races on, okay, he's changing plans because he's come off, I've gone here. We know the changes, let's go. And in the end, it paid dividends. We won the game. So, yeah, it was quite good.
Brad made the point early, Kate, and it's a very good point. We have got over that. You know, it's not like we've gone 3 games. He's not won his first game yet. We've got that out the way, and you know, we were playing a very good team, weren't we? We were playing like a team that was one kick away from being in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you can do the competition any disservice at all. I think they were a good team and they were really up for it. I mean, I think it's been 13 years or something since the last M69 derby. And Enzo felt that as well. I just think he didn't underestimate the competition. They gave us a really good run for our money, and they could have won it. And I'm glad they didn't. And I'm glad Enzo could turn it around. It was refreshing to see a plan B. I'd love to see somebody know what to do with Pratt, and we may be seeing the rumblings, beginnings of it here, really, because he's clearly a good player. He's a smart player. He's got a football brain, but manager after manager has struggled to know where to put him on a permanent basis. But maybe we're seeing some of that now, because he's a bloody good player to not use.
He is. I mean, I can remember years and years ago, and the manager, not of the football, where I was working, was talking to all the staff, and he was saying that, you know, he noticed this little girl sat in the corner that was kept herself to herself. You know, nobody really sort of had much to do with her, but she came in, got on with her work, and when the time came, he actually made her up to be the manager of the department, and he said she was probably probably the best, or certainly one of the best managers he had of that particular department. Is that the case with Dennis Pratt, Kate? That he's been overshadowed, if you like, by Yuri being in there, Maddison being in there. He was never again. You know, we're talking a bit like Kelechi, only played bit parts. Okay, he only came on, second time, but I think he's going to get more game time because of the way and the number of games we play this season. But is this now his time to shine? And if it is, do you think he will stay?
If he can get game time, I think he will stay. And like any player-manager relationship, communication is key. I don't think Brendan was very astute at that at all. But Enzo seems to have, with quite limited time so far, got a lot of buy-in to his ethos and strategy. For him to have said last week that 6 players have now changed their minds about leading, Pratt is probably one of those. So it's like anything, any work, any job that you do, if your communication between the manager and the staff is good, then everybody really stays happy. And I'm hoping that that's the case with Pratt now. I think if he gets game time, he will definitely say, because he seems to like it here. He said he'd have probably gone a while ago on loan somewhere again, or he'd have kicked and screamed a bit. So I'm hopeful that Enzo's been very good at convincing people that things will change. Everyone gets a fair crack, and you're a great player, and we want to use you. And you tell us as much as we tell you how you want to be used and where you think your strengths are.
Brad, we know with Pratt, he turned around before and said, I'm happy to stay. I want to stay and fight for my place. And then this
Bell end.
Still didn't play him. So he's obviously, if he is one of the 6, every fan wants him to stay, don't they? And do you think he could come into his own now?
Yeah, I really think he can. He's obviously got a killer cross on him, if that's what he's opening up. We didn't really get to showcase that because Brandon tried to shove him, into a position he clearly wasn't that comfortable in. He's scored a couple of goals for us over his time in the limited chances he's had, and he's always one we've liked to have seen. I think in a weird way, he's one of them players that's benefited from this relegation, and that's because new manager, new division, real chance to really showcase and express yourself. And he might well be one of the 6 that kind of went, well, okay, I bit my tongue. I listened to my wife. I listened to my agent, whichever one it was, telling them to just see it out and see what their new manager says. And if he still doesn't like you, then we'll look elsewhere. Whatever reasons they decided to kind of hold fire on demanding a move away, he could easily be one of them 6, because I wouldn't have blamed him if he'd have gone to Enzo going, look, I'm willing to hear you out, but if I'm not in your plans, can you please tell me? Because I've not had a great time here, and I wanted to have a good time here. And clearly, whatever Enzo said to him, and we've said this numerous times, haven't we, Chris? Whatever he said to them players has really worked, and you can see it. You saw it yesterday. I mean, I know Leicester are doing something a little bit different. I don't know if you've noticed they put a 2-minute highlights up, and then this morning they put extended highlights. But I watched the way Mavididi and the players celebrated in and around him. I know you say don't read into celebrations, but they're pumped for the crowd. You saw Harry Winks was like a kid in a Christmas, in Toys R Us, for those that remember Toys R Us, really pumping his fist up at the crowd, getting involved. So they all look happy to be here. And I think Pratt will really shine this season. He could be a player that you're looking for as one of the players of the season.
And we don't want to know where you were hanging out just a couple of years ago, mate. Toys R Us.
Yeah, we can. Sorry, I forgot. It's just got the watershed, Chris. They can all know now.
Look, we're going to have to say goodbye to Kate. She has to go and do some work. So she says. Kate, you can follow Kate on Twitter, or X that it is now called. And I did just ask because I didn't know whether you wanted to give it out or not, Kate. But just give a shout out as to where people can find you.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Kate Blakey 40. So give us a shout. My name's Katie B on Twitter. So yeah, give us a follow on there, talking all things Leicester. Be good to chat with you.
And she talks a lot of sense, just like us too. Katie, enjoy whatever you're about to do.
Thank you.
And we will. Are you going to Burton?
Yes, I'm going to Burton. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Are you up for the before, middle, and middle? Apparently, they've turned the. Alan was telling me that they turned the Wi-Fi off at the KP.
Oh, they turned it off?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I heard that last year.
Yes. It's a bit naughty,
it's
isn't it?
Betting.
Mind you, last year I don't think they wanted you to do anything, did they? They were searching
No,
before
no
you
one was
went
using the
in.
Wi-Fi last year. Maybe they were just to watch something else. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
definitely.
no,
But we'll
brilliant.
watch
I'll
it
send you the
Thursday.
link as normal on Wednesday. Take care and look after yourself. Thanks for coming on.
Andrew, see you
See
guys
you
soon.
later, Kate.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye. I will add Katey's details to the descriptions below. You never know these days who wants and who doesn't want their details given out. We'll be back and talking more about Leicester because that's what we're here for, and we'll be doing that straight after this.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Yeah, I don't know what they thought on in Leatherhead when I played that on the radio the other morning, but who cares? Who cares? Right, it's you and me. It's the Pull Me Push Me brothers. James Justin reveals Leicester City transfer stance mid Manchester City claim. Now, I don't think Manchester City are going to be coming in for James Justin, but he has said he's happy and he doesn't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's great to hear. I kind of thought it died out of football that players would just come up out in front and just tell it as it is, and it's really refreshing to hear. I mean, it would have been easy for him to have just gone, well, the team that you brought me from are in the Premiership, so I'm going to go back there, or Man City are going to offer me ridiculous wage, and I know that Leicester I probably won't want to or can't match what you're going to offer me. So cheery bye. But he's come out and gone, no, happy here, love it. So that's a great thing. I don't think he like Pratt would be in the mention for maybe them 6 players that have changed their mind. I'm pretty sure he had his mind made up. And it's good, it's good in a way because, I know we've heard a lot of not ex. But there's still a few current players, I should say, players over the last few years saying about the family mentality, and it feels like Justin got in there just at that point before, Brendan darkened the corridors with his abysmal managerial tactics. So I feel like he's a part of that, and he feels partly responsible, even though he was injured and not able to do anything last season. He wants to make amends for it, so I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. Ant is in. Do check him out, guys. Ant's Leicester fan channel. It's a really good Leicester channel. Obviously not as good as this one, but it's really good. You probably are following him anyway because he's got twice as many subscribers as I have. But if you aren't, go over there and check him out and show him your support. Do we know any idea who I mean, we've obviously said Justin, but I reckon Pratt could be one of those that's come out into the 6 that are going to give him a chance.
Vestergaard clearly might be one. Trying to think of the 6. I mean,
a goalkeeper in there, do you think?
No, I still think we need to lose 2 of them. I don't understand why one hasn't gone already, to be perfectly honest with you. Maybe Iheanacho, because he did come on, and for what I said, about a certain Castagne not playing or starting or anything, and he's been linked with Juventus. Well, Kelechi's being linked with other clubs, but he's not gone. I just saw Ant's comment there. Possible, but I heard it was the Belgian manager. I had an absolute blast about the Belgian manager and shouldn't be sticking his nose in players' business. Pick them on form, not what division they're playing in. Championship versus the Belgian league. I know what I'm scouting my players from, I'm afraid. So he should have learned to butt his nose out of. Possibly Ndidi and Samare.
Samari could be a good shout. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be players of that caliber.
About people playing in green, though. Is a keeper or not? Or who are we going to be keeping and who are we not going to be keeping? I mean, I was surprised Solskjaer was on the subs bench. But look, Hermansen, he's young. If he stays injury-free, then is our number one going forward. That's obvious. He's come in, he started the first game over Ward and Everson, who have been there a while, both of them experienced, both of them good enough for this level, neither of them even appearing on the subs bench. Makes you wonder. I would be quite happy for them both to go. I think, if Hermansen can stay injury free and play, and let's be honest with you, goalkeepers, I know you're a member of the goalkeeper union, but they do the least work on the pitch, and yet they seem to drink the most water on the pitch, because they make a save and they've got to go and have a drink. You're like, that's worn me out. I'm thirsty now. They go and get a drink. Unless you're Jordan Pickford, you're probably reading notes that you stuck on the bottle. But you know what I mean. But so if he can keep him, and plays most of the games, Stolchak, I think he's up there as good as Ward and Everson, to be totally honest with you. And Ward and Everson again are the most the ones that are going to bank us the most money if we do sell them.
Yeah, they are. And look, the fact that Stoichek was on the bench over both of them, that to me says a lot, because we've got Burton in the midweek on Wednesday. Now, maybe because he was a bit late arriving in terms of close to the start of the season, Hermansen might still play against Burton, but if not, I think Stoichek is going to be our keeper. So Iverson's a sellable asset. Now, he was on loan at Preston. I don't know their goalkeeping situation, but they might have a soft spot to want to bring him back to the club. So I don't, firstly, I think Iverson deserves to be a number one. That's why I want him gone. It's nothing against him. I don't think he's not good enough to be our number one. Had we not brought in Hermansen and made that statement that he's going to be the number one by playing him as we did Sunday, I would have happily have had Iverson as our number one. So sell him.
I take that. I take what you're saying there, because I think out of the choices we had, he was the obvious one.
Yeah.
I think he's the number one at a championship club.
Yes, which ironically is what we are, but I think...
I mean is, I don't think... Or possibly a lower end Premier League, maybe a Luton or somebody like that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe had we stayed up. The thing is, though, we would have still had to do a rebuild, Chris. So would we not have gone back? And I know we're talking hypotheticals here, but would we not have probably then been in a position where Leicester were back to being a lower table Premier League side? We might have had to have gone through seasons of finishing 14th, 13th. So maybe Iverson would have done. We don't know. That's hindsight, and being source is not great to try and look through. But it's all ifs, ands, and buts and coconuts, I guess. But we might have seen Iverson keep his position. But it's very clear to me with the fact that Hermansen started without a pre-season game under his belt. He's come in, had a few training sessions, gone straight in. I think Iverson sells because Danny Ward's going to ride out his contract. I think he's made that obvious. He's not kicked up a fuss. He's not said he wants away. He's not really beating the chest going, no, I'm a number one goalkeeper. I'm not going to settle for second or third choice. Whereas Iverson's, before he was given the opportunity under Brendan, was already starting to pipe up, wasn't he, Chris? He was already saying, well, if I'm not here, I want to be number one. So either use me or I'm going. So
Terry says here, Iverson to Forest. I mean, they were linked with Casper, but I think they've actually bought another goalkeeper now.
Arsenal's third choice.
Yeah. So I can't see. I mean, well, you don't know with Forest. They probably need about 5 or 6. And how's your arse, by the way, mate? Not that I am familiar with Ant's arse, but he did have a curry the other day, so I did play Ring of Fire for him. I'm not a fan of curries, but I always do find they're twice as hard on the way out as they are on the way in. That's all I'm saying. That is all I am saying. Look, you're a fan of watching the training videos. Enzo's grueling training sessions. apparently he's won the players over with grueling but phenomenal training sessions.
Well,
You weren't a fan of Brendan's training sessions. Go
oh,
explain the difference.
here's the difference for you. Passy McPassface, right? You could have copied and pasted. You could have copied and pasted every single. There was no need for the Leicester media's team to, to have recorded every training.
Spread up that
Excuse
end.
me again. There was no need for the Leicester City media team last season to have gone out to the training ground every day and recorded the training session, because all you got from it was pass, 5 yards, pass, stand over there and pass. That was the training session videos last year. Right, they glitz and glammed it. They maybe got a player from a different angle, maybe wearing a different coloured bib one day, but the difference was minimal. With Enzo, he's rotating drills. I have yet to see, and maybe the media team's improved in what they're recording, I don't know, but I've yet to see the same drill in the same video. It looks intense, but it's short bursts as well. That's the good thing about it. He's not having like 30-minute sessions and the players are dead on their knees and collapsing and pulling hamstrings or whatever. It's, we're going to do this for 5 minutes, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and this will work on this, and this will work on strengthening this, and this will help you with your stamina. You know what I mean? They're all benefiting different areas, and he's projecting it right, and he's also making it fun. He gets involved, Chris. He's sprinting around. He's like a Pep of the prime days with his bald head and his stubbly beard, but he's getting involved. He's making it fun, but he's benefiting the players in every way. And I think he's got them involved as well. You know, he may have come in and got some ideas, but he's found the best way to get it across to them and make it so they enjoy it. Because the one thing you do, Chris, and you know this with sales on a training day, if you did the same training day every 3 months, say when you were sales, Chris, and your boss said, right, I want you to have one training day every 3 months, and every 3 months you did the exact same thing, your staff wouldn't care, would they? After the first 2, they'd go, oh, guess what? I'm going to read that script to you, and you're boring. You want a new challenge, and I like what I'm seeing. I would actually, Rotten Tomatoes, Brendan Rodgers would get a 1%, and Enzo the other end, or however Rotten Tomatoes works, whatever percentage is a good one, give to Enzo and a bad one to Brendan, because they're complete contrasting videos.
Yes, yeah. No, totally agree. Right. Now then, I think coming up, that is the end of the topics that we were going to cover. So it's now down to Leicester, the question Q&A time. So it's just general questions that we're going to get asked now by some of the cleverer people in the chat. Ant says they also look a lot fitter as well. Fair play to him. James is asking here, where does head think we'll finish, and where does your heart say?
My heart says that Leicester will go and get 100 and whatever the maximum points is, will win all 46 games, and will be challenging Pep Guardiola's Man City in no time for the league. And then my head says top 4. My head says top 4. Slightly tweaked a little bit in optimism because of the conference result, but I thought the first 5, 6, 7 games are going to still be hard to get through. So my head, which is probably the most sensible part of my brain sometimes, and my body sometimes, believe it or not, says top 4, but my heart says we're going to thrape the league, we're going to get over 100 points like we did the last time we won this thing, and it's going to be a piece of cake, and dilly-ding, dilly-dong round 2 for the Premier League.
I thought your arse was the best part of your brain, but never mind. For me...
well,
come on, the door was open. You didn't expect me not to walk through it.
Well, that's very true.
For me, my heart says second, and I would very easily take that. one game doesn't going to make the whole season, and I think we saw. It did take me back to the Brendan time when we had a very good opening 30 minutes, didn't take advantage and ended up losing, and that could have easily have happened. Thankfully, we have got Enzo in, and he does actually, like we said, have a plan B. My head is saying 5th, 6th, 7th or 8th, to be honest with you. But my heart says 2. And I'm trying to be sort of.
If our hearts work together, we're already promoted, Chris. Get the double-decker bus on order. Get the champers out there.
They've still got it, I think. It's just in mothballs, you know. John is saying, I'll go first with this one. Do we need another forward, lads? For me, definitely. Inacho made the difference when he came on, but he wasn't in a forward role. The number of times that I saw he was actually outside the box crossing in, and I'm thinking, for fuck's sake, you should be in the box on the end of them. What is going on? Vardy, it ties in with Ant's next question, so I don't want to say too much about Vardy. I don't think that the 3 strikers is going to be enough for this season when you've got Vardy, who is not going to be a 90-minute. I was surprised he started. I think he should have come off way before the 70th minute. I don't think he had any contribution at all. Now, whether that's the way that the team is being played or whether he just has only got 45, 50 minutes in the tank, I don't know. So it leaves us with 2 main strikers, one that's being played out of position and one that's as fast as a whippet but doesn't know where he's heading for. Because 9 times out of 10, he's got the finishing prowess of Jeffrey Schlupp. So for me, yes, we do need another striker. Brad?
I think so. I think we do need one just for injury cover because I'm not sure what our youth side is offering for like another Casey McAteer sort of thing, because obviously he's been promoted and played practically the full game, didn't he? He came off, I think, at the end for Chowdhury. I could be wrong with that one, but he played practically the full game, if not. So I didn't see one of them options on the bench as a potential striker that could fill that void. The only reason I say it's injury cover is because I understand what you're saying, that Kelechi wasn't actually in a striker's role, but the whole dynamic of our shape changed, Chris. He had Winks one side of him. He had, KDH the other side of him. He had Mavrididi on the left side. He had Casey McAteer on the right. He had Pratt even further on the right. So we had 5 options, split 3-2, depending on Coventry's defence. To go, so it was almost like we were attacking as a force, as the single striker was being backed up by the 4 midfielders. So I don't think he was actually out of place. I think that actually might be Kel's role for under Enzo. That's how he wants to change it up. He doesn't want a playing on the last shoulder striker at that point. That's when he wants some driving and getting more involved in the attacks. And maybe Burton, we need to give the other striker Daka the Vardy role in that sense to see how he's going to go, because I think he needs to play. He needs to be more involved this season. But I'd like to see an in-depth added to that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. Ask these same questions in January, and you'll get a load of different answers from us. We are basing all this at the moment on one game. Last question, then we're going to call it a day. If you can stop afterwards just for a quick chat, it will be quickie because I've just realised I've not done something for a Huddersfield fan. Is Vardy finished?
No, he's not. Again, it was one game. And if this had happened 2 seasons ago, no one would have batted an eyelid to the fact that Jamie Vardy didn't get involved, because we've gone, he didn't get the service. Next week he'll get the service. He'll smash in 2. Like you said, it's one game. So if we play Huddersfield, cast your minds back to the last time we played Huddersfield. I think we beat them 5-0 at Huddersfield. So what if he starts against Huddersfield and he bangs in 2? Is Jamie Vardy back to his best? No, of course he's not. Just because he doesn't score doesn't mean he's suddenly finished again. If he was finished, the amount of times that people have suggested his career was over, he wouldn't have won the Premier League. He wouldn't have won the Golden Boot. He wouldn't have won the FA Cup. He wouldn't have left Stockbridge, for crying out loud. He wouldn't have made it to like Halifax and teams like that. He wouldn't have got anywhere in his career. Every time people say that man's finished, and I've said it before, and I've learned from my own mistakes, funny enough, right? What's he going to do? He goes and bangs in 15, 20 goals a season. So ask me in about 8, 9 games if he's finished.
I'm going to very strange territory here, and I'm not comfy doing this, but I
told you, don't go to Nottingham. It's not worth it.
Well, it's almost as bad as going to Nottingham. I'm going into Ant's world here, and I'm actually agreeing with Ant. He said here it's not just one game; it was all last season as well. I think he's finished as a striker. Does that mean that he's finished as a player? Look, he's got one season left, so he's going to be. Is he 38 at the end of this season? So the chances are that yes, he is finished. Unless he's really going to drag his career out. And let's be honest with you, he doesn't have to work now for the rest of his life. So yes, I think in that way his career is over. His career as a 20-goal a season striker is over. I don't think he can play that role now. I think we need to get Daka in and give him the chance. And I don't mean 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. I mean dropping Vardy, putting Vardy in for the Burton game. I would not have started him, I've got to be honest with you, against Coventry. I love the guy to bits, you know that. But to be brutally honest with you, at times I forgot he was on the pitch. I really did. He was... he offered nothing in that game, absolutely nothing. And I think he's past let's put him on the pitch because he'll take 2 of their defenders out. No, because the other teams know now that he's not the Vardy of old, And yes, we need to play when he's when Rebecca's legal fees come in. But yeah, I think as that striker, his role, I think, is over.
Yeah, I will agree. Yeah, I will agree. In terms of priority number 1 striker, I agree with you. That is finished. That role is finished, but he still has a lot to offer, and I agree with you as well. Switch the roles.
Yeah. Maybe drop him back. You think more into sort of the link between midfield and a striker?
Possibly, you could do that. You could kind of, mould him into it. It's not like he hasn't had Brendan already trying to do that to him anyway, so he kind of knows the drill to do that. You could do that. And also, like you said, maybe there's a little bit of case of work to be done with Daka, and Enzo wants to try and get us, get the Leicester fans in a more positive mindset first before he makes that transition of passing the torch to Daka. I think he wants the feel-good factor to be there, Daka to have some confidence, maybe plays against Burton, scores a couple, maybe a hatful, and maybe he plays against Huddersfield, gets a goal, so he gets a little bit of confidence, and then that passing of the torch. Because I think, well, we've been saying this for 2 seasons now, Chris, haven't we? At some point, we've either got to pass the torch or find someone else to pass it to, because if we don't give the torch to Daka this season, and let's say Leicester do go straight back up, are we going to pass it to him in the Premiership?
Yeah. And to my mind, this is you cannot hold on to players, and I think this happened with Schmeichel. We're holding on to these players too long because, oh my God, we won the Premier League trophy with them one season. It was one season. Don't get me wrong, it was the best season of our lives. Of course it was. But you can't pick players. If that was the case, we still have Danny Simpson playing for us. We'd be wheeling Wes Morgan out, who at the end of his career, I just couldn't wait for him to go. He was more of a hindrance than anything. He was more likely to stick the ball in the back of his net than he was to actually do any defending. But they're being picked because they are from the champion Premier League winning team. But yeah, we've got to let these players go, and you have to accept. And I know what's he called, the guy that comes on and is absolutely sticks his head up Vardy's arse. Vardy should be playing 90 minutes every week and he'd be getting a hat trick. You know the guy I mean.
I can't think. I know what you mean, man.
Boris. We have to sort of say at some point, they are past it. They have finished. Yes, let's have them coming on as either super sub or let's put him into a different role. But if Daka doesn't get, and we've seen it with Kelechi and Acho, getting those 10, 15 minutes was fucking useless. It was only when he was given a regular time because we had to, because Vardy was injured, we saw what a good player he was. So anyway, that's another. I'm going to get off me soapbox. Just want to say one thing. What was that? Because you posted something on Twitter, and I wasn't sure what it was. You did tag me in it, and I wasn't right sure that I saw somebody. It was on the pitch side at the King Power, and it was somebody in a Leicester top, but it wasn't a player who was actually jumping up and down and showing some emotion. I'm trying to think whether. I don't know what it was. I just haven't, do explain.
Now, Chris, I've got the glasses on. I haven't got a top hat or anything like that to do it. But I've got my notepad here, and I did some investigating. And I got a few statements from people to clarify. And there is an F Fox, a V Vixen, and a cousin Dennis, because I didn't know his last name. I just put that down. And a lot of other Leicester interpreters that are telling me that despite the skeptic reports that all managers sit and clap hands like seals, that in fact it wasn't a ball boy, it wasn't a fan that broke onto the pitch, it wasn't a substitute warming up, it was actually a Leicester City manager showing some emotion.
No, I'm not having that, mate. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Scandalous, heavy reports, mate, are telling me other things, that he reminds me of Martin O'Neill, someone said here. Apparently, that's the last time they saw. I asked the ground staff, I said, did you install a trampoline on the thing? They said, no, that was just him being excited. Read into it what you will, do your own investigation, Sherlock, but that is the only outcome I've come up with, mate. Everybody says apparently it was a manager.
I'm sorry, look, I have a lot of time for you. I do like you, but...
You serious?
I can't believe it. No.
I know, nor can I, but apparently so, mate. Unless somebody else has got any inside information, that's all I can tell you, mate. It was the Leicester manager.
Well, it was good to see, wasn't it, that we actually a manager that actually celebrates a scoring rather than
Well, sorry, Chris, how does he go again?
No, I'm not. No.
No, come on, how does that normally go again, Chris? Come on.
I realised when I was halfway through that I cut it short because I'm thinking, no.
Oh, no, I still know, mate. 1 hour, 27 minutes. I've got it. I'll have you. I'll have you.
You do not have access to my Instagram anymore. Or TikTok. We'll be right back to say goodbye after this.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Indeed. Brad, thank you so very much for coming on, mate. You're going to be back on this channel on Thursday, and I'll have a quick word with you about that afterwards. But where can people find you apart from on this channel?
Well, they can find me, as my name says just below there. It says you can find me on the LTID TV2, the quiz channel, which is where... I know, easy for me to say, guys. Which is where we have a whole host of football quizzes. We're currently doing the 1 million point drop at the moment. There's so many more coming. There's like it's like Price is Right. There's the Pyramid Game, which if you know Tenable, the game show, it's
card rights.
Play your FIFA cards right. There's Who Am I? There's Room 101. A selection of ton old and new quizzes. So if you love a football quiz, it's just a general thing, so go over there and check us out and support us on that channel. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I don't know why you would, but if you do, it's at Fulltime Focus. And yeah, that's the best way to probably know when I'm going live with them quizzes on that channel. there. So yeah, that's where you can find me, guys.
Brilliant. Brad, thank you so very much. I'll talk to you in a second. Take care and enjoy Thursday. And good luck, fingers crossed, on Wednesday.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah. Good luck for that.
Well, not for you, because obviously, but I mean for Leicester, hopefully we'll...
Yeah, bye. It's just funny because I have something going on Wednesday, so I thought you read my mind. But yeah, see you then, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks to Brad. Thanks to Katey as well. Links to everybody is in the chat below. Also on YouTube. It is on the description below, I should say. Thank you so very much. We are going to be back on Wednesday. I think it's about 7:05, just as the teams are announced before the kickoff for the Burton Albion game, which is actually on Sky TV. So we will be doing a watch-along for that. Because it's very difficult to get watch-alongs for Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola Cup, showing my age there, Caribou Cup, but we will be able to do that. So it's a watch-along on Wednesday. So join us for that. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks to everybody that was in the chat. Really, really do appreciate it. To everybody that's been listening on your favourite podcast platform, thank you for lending me your ears. You can have it back now. Please do subscribe. Smash that like button. It really does help the channel. Click that notification bell so you never miss another show. And if you do want to subscribe for $1.99, you become a member and you get to come on here as a guest and you get to... also be joining in the members only show soon. I appreciate it. I've been Chris. This has been LTID TV. This is Arnie. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.